That's a fantastic point because the body is always healing itself. And so the question then is, what can we do to support the natural healing process in the body, right? That should always be the goal. It'll be far easier if I share some pictures with you. This is from a study. It was a pilot study that we did with Dr. Gaetan Chevalier, and really phenomenal guy. He's a physicist and has his background in nuclear research, and got very interested in biophoton emission and laser spectroscopy. So this is with a multi-channel EEG where we're looking at brain function. And we did initial pilot study with 15 people and then later a study with 60 people. And so what we saw is that session 1 is at baseline. Session 2 is after 3 weeks of using X39, and session 3 is after 6 weeks. So we know that at age 77, there's virtually no stem cell activity in the body. The quantity of stem cells has declined. The activity of the stem cells has declined. And of course, as you know, when people get to that age, they don't heal very well. So any type of interventions becomes very difficult for the practitioner to help the patient, more challenging. And so the idea here is, well, what if we reset stem cells to a more youthful state with GHK? What would we see? And so we saw after as little as 3 weeks that the brain started to go into a state of coherence. And this was really remarkable. Dr. Chevalier commented that it might take 9 months of therapy, good nutrition, exercise, to see this level of shift that we were seeing in 3 weeks. So this would mean that this woman was sleeping better, she had better cognitive function, her memory improved, short term, the speed of processing improved. So this was a very dramatic improvement in health.
So tell me a little bit what we're looking at, with the pictures. What does the red mean, the blue, yellow, all of that? What does that mean?
Yeah, so what this would mean is you have different frequencies that are going on bioelectrically in different regions of the brain, and the ability of, let's say, the pineal gland to communicate with the hypothalamus depends on coherence. So in other words, we want to use our frontal lobes for processing information, but that's contingent upon the ability of the pineal gland to signal the hypothalamus, and then the hypothalamus to direct production of hormones and neurohormone precursors to allow all of that to happen. And so these red areas are indicative of an incoherence in the cell signaling, so that it means at this age, for this gentleman at 67, there is internal bioelectrical resistance in the tissue that's prohibiting effective communication from one region of the brain to the other. And so what we see is that as we elevate copper peptide, in this gentleman over a period of 6 weeks, there's a dramatic improvement in the coherence of communications in the brain. And this, of course, then leads to overall better health. We do a lot of blood and urine tests, and they're, of course, invaluable, but I really like combining that data with the bioelectrical because now you get a fuller picture of what's really happening.
Yeah, and dementia, Alzheimer's, I mean, all of that that is a pandemic that's taking place right now. So to be able to have a tool to support the coherence in the brain to reduce risks, for those type of things. I mean, obviously we can't say that anything prevents anything, but at least we want to do everything that we can to maximize our ability to function and to help to regenerate.
Yeah, we did a study over 10 years ago with Dr. Tom Budzinski and his wife, Helen Budzinski. And Dr. Budzinski was very, very well known in neurofeedback. There were college textbooks that he wrote. And one of the investigational studies that we did was on carnosine. And carnosine, of course, is a dipeptide, which is made up of alanine and histidine, and so is metabolized in the brain. And what was so exciting is that we saw after 30 days of increasing carnosine content in the brain, we could completely reverse age-related cognitive decline. So this is incredibly exciting for people that are dealing with any normal age-related cognitive function, but also people that might have more serious conditions. Supplementing with things like carnosine and glutathione, to a degree, can have some dramatic impacts on people's overall health and their memory, state of relaxation, and immune health.